Cool. All right, I am here with Mr. David Szajnuk himself, small-time content creator, now sponsored by Elgato. Shout out to Elgato. I'll do the plug for him. An avid
Appreciate it.
fan of 100 Thieves, an avid fan of Optic Gaming, and his main niche is the growth of esports, more specifically the growth of League of Legends esports, aka LCS, which is the League of Legends esports that is based out of North America. David, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. Another
Very,
Monday. Can't complain.
very
How about
good.
you?
Very good. I can't complain either, man. I get to sit here and talk to you, someone I admire, and I can't ever complain about that.
I appreciate it.
Of course, absolutely. Well, David, so as we know, this is an interview for my journalism final. I will be writing a feature story on you. So we are going to talk about first your origin story, not only as a content creator, but just who you are. So I guess I will open it up. What is your story? How did you end up in New York being this creator that you are in this space?
How much time you got? That's the real question.
As much time as you want to talk.
I won't go into the nitty gritty, but the lay of the land basically is I am just a guy that has a few obsessions in life that change from time to time as life has gone on, but I've kind of always followed them. So growing up, my dad got me into the game of golf at 4 years old, and I would ride along in the cart with him, play a hole, pass out, wake up 3 holes later, play another hole, and eventually I grew into the point where I would play a full 18 holes or full 18-hole round with him. Eventually was able to beat him and was like, you know what, maybe I want to pursue this for something beyond just playing the game for fun. Like I don't want this to just stop with high school. I enjoy video games on the side. I enjoy hanging out with other people, but I want to try and pursue golf in whatever way I can. And the way I put it back then was I want to turn a passion into a career. So I did that to a certain extent. I went to a small school in North Carolina called Methodist University.
Hmm.
Not many people know where it's at, but if J. Cole is currently in the news right now for unfortunate reasons, but he talks about being at Forest Hill Drive. Well, that was Fayetteville, North Carolina. That was the one claim to fame we had there. So I went to school, got my degree. Originally, I was going to get business administration, but you get a concentration in professional golf management. So you get your PGA certification to be able to enter the golf industry as a teaching pro. You could go general manager. You could go to like Titleist, who's a golf club manufacturer. You basically like fast track your way into the golf industry. Similar to kind of what you hear a lot of people asking about to do like with esports, like get into the esports industry. Uh, that's a whole other can of worms, not worth getting into. But I decided my junior year, after my third internship that I was doing, because we had to do one every single year, that I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I'd burnt myself out so heavily on the sport, on the business, on everything around golf that it was just like, okay, I gotta I gotta find something else to do. And luckily, I took all my gen eds the first 2 years of school and intentionally made it so I could pivot later if I wanted to. Swapped to an accounting degree my junior year and did all my accounting classes. Didn't take any further time to graduate. Got everything done in their standard amount of time. But was looking at grad school afterwards because I needed a way to pivot out of the golf industry. Like all my work experience, everything had been golf. I probably could have gotten a job down in North Carolina at an accounting firm or like tried to go Big Four in that capacity. But I wanted to give myself one extra year of grad school to like really solidify the people that yeah, like I will know business, I will know how to do your books, etc., stuff like that. Was looking at grad school down in North Carolina at Wake Forest and NC State, who shout out to them for making the Big Four or the Final Four.
Yeah.
Uh, and my wife actually, well, fiance at the time, she got accepted into the American Musical and Dramatic Academy here in New York City. Her goal was always Broadway, musical theater, the arts. That was always her. And I made the choice to say, okay, well, I don't know how, like, I thought my job, like, going to college would be like the way to get a job in New York, and like, that's the best way to go. Well, what if I try and do that 1 year here in New York for my master's and like try and do that. It's like, okay, well, I'll take a Hail Mary, I'll apply for NYU. My grades weren't great. I was probably the dumbest person in a class of 60 at NYU. I know my GMAT score I think was like 100 or 600, which is like right on the acceptance level. And I knew I didn't fully stand a chance to get in, but I got accepted into Penn State, got accepted into Temple's Masters of Accounting program.
Mm-hmm.
Then got the email that I got into NYU.
Damn.
I don't know how. I'm assuming it might have been my essay that I wrote, which was purely about finding a way into esports somehow. I don't know. And I was honest in the essay and was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But in my mind, it is I get business experience that I can then apply to that industry later in time. I don't know what that means. I don't know how I'll get there, but I'll figure it out as I go. And all I can tell you is that I have followed a passion before with golf. I know not to burn myself out on it this time,
Yeah.
but I've technically succeeded before. It worked for whatever reason. Got into NYU, was able to come up here, did my 1 year there, got my I got my CPA license in the sense that I passed all the segments of the exam. My application and $600 is still sitting with the governing body that owns or that issues your license. I've just never formally finalized it because I don't want to do the continuing education hours.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting on a CPA license that I just have not like finalized. But then I started working, and I started with a mid-sized auditing firm working in public accounting, mostly on international subsidiary clients. So it was mostly French-based firms that had U.S. Subsidiaries underneath them. We go in and audit those individual companies. So during my time in public accounting, I was spending of the first 27 weeks of the year, or 26 weeks. Gee, why am I mathing horribly? There's 52 weeks in the year. First 26 weeks of the year, I was on the road for about 23 out of 26 of them.
Damn. That's tough.
And it was fun to a certain extent because obviously everything's paid for. Like
Yeah.
food's paid for, racked up a ton of travel miles. Like it was great. But wife was at home, dogs were at home, and I didn't want to do it again. So decided to leave and I was like, okay, well, how do I find what's the next step? Like what's a transition that I can start to do to find my way into esports longer term? It's like, okay, well, I got to find a way to get into entertainment because that's ultimately what esports and gaming is. It's entertainment.
Yep.
So I went to Viacom CBS and worked as a sales associate there for late night television. So James Gordon and Stephen Colbert did all of their ad sales, finance, and forecasting. And unfortunately, then COVID hit. COVID came, Viacom and CBS merged. Two independently valued $9 billion companies merged. You would assume they'd be $18 billion in value.
Not how that works.
It dropped to 9 immediately. They laid off a bunch of, I think like 12 to 1,300 of us, myself included. COVID was not fun here. There weren't many jobs in New York City opening up with like great amounts of pay, especially as you were like a second year out of school person. So I went to Peloton, one of the few companies that was actually doing well during COVID.
Yeah, Peloton was thriving during COVID.
Oh, they were doing well. That came at the cost of those of us working there because the hours were terrible. We'd like our month close would be 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day from the 1st of the month to the 9th or 10th ish. No weekends off, no nothing.
Please tell me you were hourly.
No. Salaried, no. Salaried, no benefits. Typically, when you work after a certain amount of hours, like they have to provide food or something like that.
Yeah.
They couldn't even find that in their budget to give to us. Greedy corporate execs.
I was going to say, that's some greedy POS right there.
It was terrible. And I remember the Weeknd's album After Hours dropped.
Yeah, good album.
I was one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah, same.
I've listened to that front to back
dozens
so many
of times.
It was the album that got me through Peloton.
Fun fact: After Hours Weekend got me through my what is one of the albums that got me through my abuse at home. So I can relate. I can relate to that.
Ugh,
Yeah. So absolutely, I've listened to that album dozens of times. Fun. My girlfriend does not get like that album. I think it's like a masterclass. My
oh,
girlfriend's like, it's just the weekend. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, it's not just the weekend. This
I'm
isn't
curious.
blinding lights, weekend.
No. What
No.
was your song? Everybody has a song off that album. What was yours?
I think it was After Hours.
Okay.
Um, Let me pull up the album. I can pull it up real quick. Oh,
'Cause I know mine off the top of my head, and it's a deeper cut that nobody
oh,
ever
never
picks.
mind. I'm sorry. It's either Alone Again or Faith. I think I'd pick Faith.
Okay. Faith
Yeah.
is the one that I feel like most people will like.
Yeah, I love Alone Again because I think the intricacies of how he does the beats, I think it is very, very beautiful. And I also like the album too, not just because of the memory backstory for me, but I also thought like he brought some like old school techno disco vibes and
Hmm.
dubbed it a little bit. And I thought that was like not been done before in that kind of mainstream way. So I really, really appreciated that.
I feel like
Um,
he perfected 80s sound
yeah,
in the modern
I
era on that
100% agree with
album.
that take. Yes, I do that. And then one other fun fact of why I love the album. I used to be a ballroom dancer. I'm actually a national champion at ballroom dancing.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so albums or songs that will always stay in my head or I love, if I can imagine me doing a dance routine to them, then I know that they are a great song. That's kind of how I judge songs. If I can't put myself doing a dance routine to it, song could be good, but it's not great. And there was a lot of songs on the album that I was like, and Faith was definitely the one that I could dance to.
I
So,
don't think you'd be able to ballroom dance to my song on that album, though.
what is it? What is your song?
Escape from LA.
It's a good song. I don't think I could though. I think you're right.
The switch up is too slow. Like even the
Yeah,
beginning's a little too like it.
you definitely
That
you couldn't
song
do ballroom too. You could do contemporary with a merge of hip hop and some crunk for sure. Um,
maybe, and even then, I feel like
it'd be a stretch.
you might potentially lose the emotion of
Yeah,
the
of
song.
the song. Yeah,
But like that one helped me get through because it was very much about getting out of a shitty situation.
yeah,
And I get off work from Peloton at like 1 o'clock and just be exhausted but awake
yeah.
because like you just get off work and it's like, okay, well, I gotta do something. I can't just go to bed and wake up and go to work. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
But it was at that moment that I decided, okay, I gotta do something. Like obviously I'm looking for other jobs as well, like to try and get out of this. But I also need some other way. Because I don't know if this corporate route is gonna get me into esports. I'm sorry, I'm choking
That's okay.
on something. Let me
Take
go grab some
yeah,
water real quick.
take whatever you need. Yeah.
Yeah, I got good one. Thank you. No, I'll get that later. Uh, Sorry about that. I
Hey,
got sick. I started getting sick over the weekend, and
dang.
I'm still somewhat recovering from it. So
No, I get that. So, but that's okay. You got your water. I have mine, so we're all good.
stocked up on 2 of them, so we should be good.
Awesome. So
Uh,
you were talking that Escape to LA, that was your song, and it was your song because when you got off at 1 in the morning, you couldn't just shut down and go to bed, right?
yeah.
So, and you were like, okay, I have made my decision for myself that corporate going in esports, that is not the way we're doing it.
I mean, the goal still ultimately would be
Okay.
at some point, and in a way, a hybrid, because I made the choice then. TikTok was like kind of in its prime of, it just being dances, but just it was fun, it was relaxing. And I posted a video of my dog coming out of the cover, so just like a trending song at the moment.
Yeah.
And it got 150 views. which sounds like nothing.
But that's
But like when
something.
you first post that first ever video on TikTok and you see it get that, it's like, wow, that's a rush. It's an addicting feeling. You start seeing those likes pile up, even if it's like 10 of them. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
damn.
dopamine. That's free
Mm.
dope, as Dashy and Optic Gaming would say. That's free dope. Yeah,
Oh, it was incredible.
yeah,
So I was like, okay. I thought about it more. And I talked to my wife and I was like, what do you think of me posting videos on TikTok just talking about esports? Because there's nobody on this platform that's doing that. Like literally, like there'd be some people that like would break down news, but like not just news, but like Pat McAfee, Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, like
yeah,
your sports personalities just talking about stuff and the way that the boys talk about it. And we're in the middle of COVID. I can't go to the bars and watch League of Legends like I used to with friends in New York City. Like all of that's gone. So
yeah.
why not try it? And I did. And I said, okay, I'll give myself a month. I'm going to post 2 videos a day, every day for a month and see if it works. Like, see if I just grow a little bit. If I post for an entire month and gain no followers or nothing, and it doesn't feel like something's building, then I'll stop. And I don't want to waste time. I'll figure out something else. And it grew enough to the point where I was like, okay, I might want to keep going and just keep trying.
Yeah.
That was November of 2021. It is now April of 2024. I have never once missed uploading 2 videos a day, every single day to TikTok ever since.
Wow.
And now we're here. Now that's where we are.
That's so cool. Well, dang. That's a great intro. Appreciate that. Okay. Well, you kind of answered two of my questions already, which is never a bad thing. Um, I heard the transition from golf to esports, but I would like to clarify why esports, right? What's that background? What's the backstory behind that? Because golf and esports are not
Yeah.
similar in majority of ways. Um, obviously the very basics is one is traditional, one is not. But just even the way that they are played and the way the tournaments are, how they function, they're just not similar hardly at all. So
Yeah.
what was that?
It it weirdly the rise in esports in my life coincides with the drop off of golf to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's the same with me. When I retired from ballroom, I picked up esports. Yeah.
And the worst part is like it's not like I've retired from golf. I actually just recently started a golf YouTube channel and like I'm trying to start to grow a brand there. So I still love the game. But I was in college golf tryouts. We had 200 golfers at my school that were all single digit handicaps and only like 20 made the team. I passed my PAT, which was a requirement, like a skill test requirement that you have to bare minimum do to just to be able to audit or try out for the team.
Yeah.
And then I try out for the golf team on the 4th hole of the first day, or 3rd hole, sorry. It's a par 4, dog legs a little bit right, but you have to clear 210 yards of it, like a very narrow gap before it opens up. First ball went through the gap, but like went over the trees on the left side out of bounds. I got pissed, slammed my club. Re-tee. Same thing. Slam my club. Re-tee again. Top it like 180 yards, so it just goes straight out.
Yeah.
And I got so pissed that I slammed my club again, and the head snaps right off the shaft.
That'll do it.
And I was pissed. I just wanted to end it, like not end it all life, but like just
Yeah.
walk off the course right then and there. We walk up, the first ball it hit a tree and ended up in the middle of the fairway. And I quickly, like the second I saw it, and I just looked back at my club and I was like, I got a problem. I have an issue that I need to address. And it was the underlying thought of like I was starting to have regrets on like not wanting to go into the golf industry and not being at a good point in my life where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And it all came boiling out in that moment. But I was like, okay, this thing that used to be a source of fun for me, that used to be a way to escape, the struggles of life, like just all the problems that come with just being an angsty teenager. Like it was becoming something that I was actively costing myself money by breaking clubs.
Yeah.
I need to take a break. I took 6 months where I played the bare minimum because you had to still play a little bit of golf to be able to stay in the program. You couldn't just quit golf and become a PGA golf professional. It doesn't work like that. So I played the bare minimum, but outside of that, I didn't touch a club. I didn't touch anything, and I had to do something to fill my time. So I started playing more Call of Duty, which I kind of stopped once I went to high school, or once I went to college. Like I
Yeah.
played all throughout high school. You go to college, you go to the parties, the bars, and everything else. And if you're not with the crew that plays games like that, eventually you kind of filter it out. I'd also met my wife around that time, so girlfriend takes the place of video games.
What COD
And
did you stop playing on?
Advanced Warfare was the last one.
Ah,
Or no, sorry, no, that's incorrect.
was it Infinity War?
I Modern Warfare 3 was the last one that I played a lot. Black Ops 2, I played at the beginning, got to third prestige,
Okay.
met my wife, stopped playing.
Damn. So you missed Black Ops 3? That
I quit.
actually.
I quit playing COD a month before COD Champs. I missed arguably the most influential Call of Duty tournament that would have cemented me wanting to go into esports at that time even earlier.
Yeah.
A
You
year.
didn't just miss Black Ops 2. You you missed two influencer champs after, because Optic the Dynasty wins in Infinite Warfare, but then Black Ops 3, I
Well,
will die on this hill, is the greatest COD game of all time. I will die on that hill.
well, no. So I was there for that. So
Okay, cool.
I missed Black Ops 2. And I missed almost the entirety of Ghost. I still had Ghost,
Okay.
but I didn't play it until I took time off from golf.
Yep.
My best friend at the time, best man at my wedding,
Yeah.
he played it with his cousins and was like, "Hey, Friday night, log on, play with us.
Let's get
Just
some.
play some Call of Duty Ghost. Let's see what's going on." So I was like, "Okay." I joined in. I was about the same skill level, so it wasn't that much of a disparity in pubs.
Cool.
But it was great. Went on, had a blast. We played for like 2 weeks straight, and I started to get that high school feeling. It's like, man,
Yeah.
I miss this. Just gaming with the boys.
Yeah.
And that Friday, I remember it was a Friday night. It was like the final tournament of Call of Duty Ghost. They're like, I get on where it's like, okay, boys, we playing tonight? They're like, no, we're not playing. We're watching. I was like, what do you mean you're watching? They're like, well, you've done game battles, right? It's like, yeah, I've been playing
GBs.
game battles. Yeah, I've been playing GB since freaking COD 4. My teams were like 0-59, but that's beside the point. We're just gonna watch, and like we're all Optic fans. You don't have to be an Optic fan, but it at least gives you somebody to cheer for. So pick a team. Doesn't matter who. Pick a team and go with it.
That's cap, because they definitely would have judged you if you would have not picked Optic.
I didn't. I chose Envy.
Oh.
because even though I stopped playing games, I still watched content.
Okay.
All the time.
Okay.
And I watched Drifter and T Martin.
Yep.
Both of whom at the time were co-owners of
Envy. Yes, they were.
So
yes, they were.
I went with them. My first event that I ever watch is a Envy win at the end of COD Ghost.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm shit talking the boys that are all Optic fans.
Yeah.
I'm laying into them. I was like, y'all, you gave me a golden road. I'm sitting here high and mighty. I might as well never watch again.
Yeah.
Life is great.
Yeah.
But then the off season came. Roster switched up. I had I just cheered for Envy for one tournament.
Yeah.
I wasn't fully bought in yet. And as people were moving around and teams were moving around, I learned that Scump grew up 5 minutes from where I was.
Wow.
Like 5 minutes from me. Went to the high school next to me. 1 grade away from me. Like everything was there. And it turns out everybody knew about him. Even back in my hometown as that Abner kid, because they knew his dad got drafted into the MLB.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was like, okay, well, let me check him out because he's a hometown guy. I can relate to that.
And then you met the king.
Immediately hooked.
Yeah, who is it?
Didn't think twice.
I don't think I will. It's not even a bold statement. It's such a lukewarm take. But I'll tell you this: anybody that doesn't like Seth or Scump, for the people who don't know, I think that's an immediate red flag for me. What is there not to like about Optic, Seth, Scump, Abner?
I mean, people can think he's over the top for sure. And
That's
also,
fine.
it is common to hate the popular kid. Like that is a very
True.
very common thing. So
But
like I get that
I'm
perspective.
talking about from a fundamental, we take it back like to the character, to who he is as a person, the way he, as an athlete in esports, it's hard. I just think I don't know. You cannot support him because you're not an Optic fan. Like I've been a 100 Thieves fan. You know how many times that I was screaming at my TV when LA Thieves whooped Optic Gaming's ass or he won COD champs? Of course. But I still
Yeah.
go and watch Optic Scump's content. I still
Yep.
can like him and Hex. I can still
Yep.
like what Optic does for esports. So yes, but I absolutely understand that feeling of, and that of watching his content, especially during Black Ops 2 and Ghost, him going for the pub stomps with the PDW. I still remember it. Yeah, I remember it.
The first ever or one of the early on videos that I watched of his, somebody told me to go back and watch this like a ridiculous Black Ops 2 DLC match. Where they're like he gets like 2 swarms
Yeah,
and gets like triple digit kills. I was like, that's not possible.
yeah, that's Scump. That's the Abner.
And he
Very
does
cool.
it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I remember that series. Very cool. Okay, well that answers my questions in esports.
But yeah,
You talked
that
about.
got me into COD. That was great time.
Okay, well then this is a great segue. So you got into COD. What brought you to the game of League of Legends? Because COD and League are not the same, and I know this because I used to compete in COD. I used to play S&D wagers and stuff, and I had friends who would talk about League, and I was too poor to afford a PC. I was like, League sucks. Like, I don't care.
I never had anybody that talked about League. I had one kid my senior year of high school that told me he was diamond in League of Legends,
Yep.
and my senior year would have been Modern Warfare 3, so that was
Okay.
2011.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him. I was like, "Is that a console game?" He's like, "No,
No,
it's
it's a
PC." I
PC.
said, "Well, screw off.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an Xbox 360 game. I'm not playing it."
Yeah.
He's like, "But PC's better than Xbox." I was like,
I hate the
"Go
game.
around and ask every single person in
Yeah.
this freaking school
Yeah.
what they're playing on. I
It's
guarantee you,
it's COD
you're the
or Halo.
outlier, not us."
100%. Yeah. It's so
Every
gatekeepy. So
and even then,
gatekeepy.
my junior year of high school, we had a whole presentation debate in our English class of Halo franchise versus COD franchise and the narrative differences between the two series.
Mm-hmm.
At it, the Halo kids and COD, that was a rivalry.
Yeah, it
That
still
was
is.
a
Still is. But yeah, it definitely was at its height back then. I will be COD to the day I die. But
But
yeah.
so I never had anybody that like specifically introduced me to League. What happened was there was this game called Smite
Mm-hmm.
that had just debuted on Xbox.
Yeah.
And we were like, within that friend group, there was one or two people that they did play some PC games, not a lot, but they played enough to like know the MOBA genre. And we're like, okay, I want to try this. It's coming to console. We're finally getting a MOBA on console. Let's see what it's like. They hop in. We're spamming developers for keys because it's like beta. It's not even public access. Like you couldn't just download it or anything else like that. And we eventually got keys within like 48 hours of each other. They had already been playing the game. They'd learned the ropes of a MOBA. And they just told me, and they're like, pick a character that you think looks cool. Don't think about it. You'll learn the abilities on the fly, but just come in. We're going to mess around and have fun.
Sick.
And it would literally be to equate this experience, it would have been like 5 people who didn't know how to play League of Legends loading up and just running around the jungle together, finding somebody to kill
Sounds
at
like
any given point in time. Because we had no sense of objective, nothing. It was just find the enemy, kill the enemy. We're COD brain. Like that is our only thing that goes through our mind. Obviously, we would learn as time went on.
that's not what you do, but yeah.
But I remember I was playing Cupid, and his ult is like an AoE slow that then stuns and deals damage. And the first time I got 3 people in that and like caught in it, I was like, oh,
Dopamine.
okay, hang on. This is not this is only a feeling that a collateral in
Or getting a
Call of
quad.
Duty can get you.
Or a
yeah,
quad,
or like
yeah.
those high octane moments can
Yeah.
give you, but like this happens like every 3 minutes, every 4 minutes
Dope.
in this, and just keeps building and gets better. And then one of my friends was playing Giannis, who has like a global snipe. Imagine
It's like
for those that
Jin
play. Uh,
but just
yeah,
longer.
yeah, like Jin
Okay.
ult, but one shot and goes all the way across the map, and then you can walk through it as a teleport all the way through to the other side of the
What the
map.
hell?
Yeah, it's insane, but like you could one shot people across the map with it. Oh, think of it more like a Draven ult in a way,
Okay, I got you.
except you can then travel through wherever
Like
the
a bard,
pathway of the
like
X.
a bard TP when he the what is it, the magical journey or
The
whatever?
yeah, kind of,
Yeah.
exactly like a
Okay.
magical journey combined with the Draven Axe.
Dang,
That'd be the, and it was like,
that'd be hella busted in League of Legends.
oh, it would be, but it was like the moment that hit, I was like, I'm sold. You
Yeah,
don't have to do anything else. I'm sold. I'm gonna find a character that I like even more, who ended up being Rama, who's very similar to Varus,
I see the
in League of
poster.
Legends.
Yep, I see him.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh, but I played the ever living shit out of that game. Like as much as I've played COD over the totality of my gaming career,
Yeah.
I have played more Smite in a short period of time than I have ever played any other game, barring maybe Halo Wars. That's the
Dang.
only one I could think of.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I fell in love with the MOBA genre. I fell in love with everything about it and was like, okay. We would play MLG tournaments. We'd start like getting into the competitive side of things. We weren't great. We were diamond at best, but it was fun. And eventually my friends started moving on to different games after about like a year and a half, 2 years. They're like, I want to go back to Call of Duty. I want to do these things. So it eventually just became me playing ranked on my own, like most nights, chilling in the party with them, talking while they're playing COD. But like I couldn't stop playing it. And they were like, it's not even the best MOBA, right? It's like, what do you mean it's not the best MOBA? Like, this game's freaking incredible. Like,
There's
it's the best
this
thing I've ever played.
game called League of Legends.
They're like, go play a game of League of Legends. I was like, what? What? They're like, your shitty PC or a shitty laptop that I have in college that was barely hanging on by a thread by the time we got to that point. Like, even that could probably still let you play it. I was like, fine, I'll give it a try. Went out, bought a cheap mouse because I was still using I was able to use my trackpad for everything in college.
Yeah.
Bought a cheap mouse, downloaded it, was sitting on my bed at internship, found a character that looked like Rama, which was Varus.
That guy back there.
Yep. Played one game. Dude, I have never felt like, that feeling when you sleep on your arm and your hand's asleep and you're looking at it, but you can't move it.
Yeah, it's numb.
But it's just like it's sitting there. It's entirely numb. That's what I felt like the entire game. Trying to get myself to be coordinated on keyboard and mouse for the first time ever. I had nothing.
Yeah.
But I could feel how much more complicated it was than Smite, but not to the point where it was overbearing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to play it, if I'm going to play a MOBA, I might as well play the best one in theory. Also, I've heard, the competitive side of things is great. Like I like Call of Duty Esports. I love watching this. Why don't I take a look at the competitive side of things and see what I think? Because I was already watching Smite Pro League.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I tune into is the 2016 League of Legends World Championship.
That's a good one.
It was unbelievable. I'm learning about TSM. I was like, okay, so these are the American boys going international. That's fine. I'll get behind TSM. Within the first 3 games, I'm dealing with the TSM heartbreak, obviously to a much smaller portion, but like I did a lot of research to like understand how hyped up they were, what the expectations were, and they dropped the ball. I was like, okay, well, maybe we suck at this. Maybe I won't. It's like, I'm just gonna tune into finals anyways. Because I was at that time, I think I was at my girlfriend's house and we were just up at like 3 a.m. Finals was in Korea. I was like, you know what, I'll tune in. And I watched the opening ceremony and instantly that's it.
Yeah.
It's over. It's done. I'm sold for the rest of my life. Something might be able to come along and take that title. I don't want to like sit here and be altruistic and say I will never love anything else like I love this ever again. I'm not dumb. It's happened before. It could happen again. But dude, that moment. Oh, you see that dragon come down and it's just like, this isn't real. This is unlike anything I've ever seen in sports. This is unlike anything I've ever seen in video games. Like, this is taking everything that I love of both of these and combining them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be chasing this high for the rest of my life, without a question.
Yeah.
And
And that's how
that led to the passion.
of League. Wow. Very cool. That's the year that Faker gets the upset, right? With
Yep, 3-0,
with
Samsung
Ruler.
Galaxy Crown gets his champion or gets his world's title. Core
Yeah.
JJ gets his world's title,
Yep.
and my introduction to Faker was Faker crying.
Crying. Yeah. That's the wasn't Ruler on that team? Or not Ruler.
It was Huni.
It was Huni. That's right.
Huni, Faker, I forget. Bang, was it Bang?
It was Bang. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
My phrase for a while, whenever I started getting into it and started making more friends, is like, y'all understand that since I started watching this game, Faker's never won, right?
Mm.
And it literally took me going to World's Finals for him to overcome that curse.
Mm.
So
Dang.
now we know.
That's a cool
No.
story.
Yeah, well, it took me going to curse him enough to the point where it overcame this past year.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched Worlds. I watched the whole thing. That was my first ever. Was that my first ever Worlds I watched? Yeah. Because last year.
2016?
No. This previous year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I never watched Worlds. I did watch the LCS both times, but I guess I wasn't fully into League yet.
Yeah.
I hadn't made that jump. I was still very much COD. So I watched the CWL, rest in peace. Watched the
God,
trashy, and then I watched the trashy CDL, and then I watched every single COD that came out after the CDL's existence. Just become even more bigger pieces of shit. And then Vanguard happened, and I thought that was the last COD I've touched was Vanguard, and I was like, this is not COD. But then we have this wonderful pro player. My two favorite pros of all time is Octane and Kenny.
Okay.
I've always been an Octane fan since he was on Rise Nation and Luminosity. So I was a Luminosity fan first because Octane was on it. And then when he went to 100 Thieves and Black Ops 4, I
Yeah, you were able to jump on.
on
him with a real team.
Oh my gosh, yes, because I was already a 100 Thieves fan because I liked Nade Shot too. But then when they signed Octane, I about soiled my pants for lack of better words. I was very happy. So Vanguard happens, they win, they get Envoy, fell in love with Envoy, they get Draza, fell in love with him, and then Kenny was my other favorite pro. We got Kenny, I'm like, oh my goodness, nothing would be better. So, but I hated COD. Like I loved it because of LA Thieves, I loved it because of my pros, but I hated the game. So I was like, well, dang. I was like, and that, by the way, is the year that Wild Rift came out.
Ah.
Yes, so I
Okay.
am a big Wild Rift player. I am currently about to be in GM in Wild Rift.
No shit. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
Thank you. I don't think it's as skilled as this PC League. I'm not afraid to admit that, but, PC League, I always want to play Valorant because Valorant came out in 2021.
We lost you to it. Damn.
Yes, you did, because Black Ops 3 was my favorite COD. I loved Black Ops 3 because of the specialist abilities. I thought it was a fun thing to do and enjoy. So I always said, if I ever get a PC that I can build, I will play Valorant. That is what I will do. So Valorant got me before League of Legends did. However, I play copious amounts of Wild Rift with one of my brothers, not my biological brother, the family I have made. And we are on the road to GM next split, and then we're trying to hit challengers the following split after that. But now I watch League. Now I watch League a lot. So, and I understand it very, very well, or as much as I can.
I'm glad we got you on board, finally.
Yeah.
Took long enough.
It did.
But we got you there.
Yeah, COVID was the time I tuned into League. I started watching League. I was like, what's this about? Who is this? Yeah, but I just knew like 100 Thieves was a laughing stock before. Like they came in really, really strong. Because I watched the heist videos, so like I knew what was going on with us. But I knew we came in really strong, got absolutely waffle stomped by TL 3-0. and like the fastest record breaking time in the finals. And I was like, 100 Thieves is like washed in League of Legends. So they never came back. And then 100 Thieves built this roster with Someday and Closer. And yeah, so my League of Legends journey is a little different than yours. But yeah, this previous Worlds was awesome. I got chills from the storytelling of Faker, of JDG versus
Yep.
Faker.
The
I have
Golden Road.
I have sent that 5 minute video to so many people of like, this is not just good because it's esports. This is good because of the storytelling and the way they incorporated culture into the storytelling. Oh my god. Yeah.
The writing staff that put that together, I don't know what they drank in the morning.
No idea.
Who put steroids in their milk?
They drank Red
But
Bull.
dear,
Yes, they drink Red Bull.
they drank a lot
Lot
more
of-
than that because
yeah.
whatever the hell, whoever was cooking that script, dude, Heisenberg would be proud. That
Yeah.
was unbelievable.
My favorite line is when Faker says, "Ruler, you must not forget all roads lead to me." And I was like,
Yep.
"Oh my god."
He said that, and like I'm a big reaction guy. I
Yeah.
will watch the reactions to everything because I want to like I just want to relive that moment.
Of course.
And I could watch Kadril and Dom and everybody else's reaction to that video 20 times.
Yeah.
And it will never get old.
No.
It will never get old. Like that, it was a moment where like you see it in real life examples where like, husband and wives might fall out of love with each other and they have that moment that rekindles it.
Yeah.
And it's not like anybody ever fell out of love with League, but like over the last 5 years, there's been this kind of like changing of the guard as people filter out.
Of course.
And some newer people come in, but we're not replacing it at the same pace that we were.
Yeah, I mean,
That was-
for LCS, I mean, Double Lift and Bjergsen. I mean, those like names were starting to, not be the same anymore. Yeah.
But like that was a moment where everybody that was still around from before fell in love with it all over again.
Yeah.
And it was this turning, it felt like a cultural turning point in a way. Where
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, low esports LCS might struggle.
But
But
we're
low
okay.
esports international is not going
We're okay.
anywhere.
Yeah. No.
Anytime soon. And we are still the top dogs. We are the Kendrick and everybody else is the J. Cole.
Yeah.
Sorry if there's any J. Cole fans out there.
No, I think K. Dot won, especially since J. Cole took it off. But
That
What-
pisses me off. But
yeah,
whatever.
it's okay. I understand it. I respect his mentality and philosophy in life, but you should have thought about that before you posted it.
Exactly. Once you
Because it was clickbait, in my opinion. Now you just look like a sellout that tried to got views. You got the views, and then you bowed your head.
When somebody challenges you to step onto the court for a one-on-one, you step on the court knowing the rules.
Yep.
And
100%.
you can't afterwards back out.
Yeah.
If that was your problem and you thought about it afterwards, like, sorry, you already entered the court.
I agree. I will
There's
say
no backing out.
the one thing I did like, he said, but Kendrick, if you want to respond to my diss, my chin is out there, and it's a free shot. It's yours to take, which I think that's somewhat noble because he could have been just like, hey, let's call it done. But he said, you know what? I kind of messed up. Here's my chin. You can get one back in if you feel inclined.
And Kendrick
Hey,
should,
yes.
in my opinion.
I agree.
think like this is if you are claiming to be the best, you don't take it easy. Somebody
Agreed.
lets off the gas pedal, fine, but I think he needs to apply some additional pressure to Drake to get him to respond, and
Yeah.
then just bury Cole in the process.
I agree. But yes, so last Worlds was what I watched, and to your point, this previous Worlds was phenomenal. I think the storytelling, it's almost felt like the WWE wrote the script in a way. Because when JDG and Faker pulls out the Azir and he shuffles him, and Roller fucks up his flash and he gets him. And it's just like, that is literally what they just wrote. It has to be scripted. But it wasn't. And yeah. And Owner, I love Faker. Faker played incredible. It felt like how Caps is playing now, where it's like they're having this second wind almost, where people called him for like Caps, like craps. But Faker played incredible there, but I genuinely think it should have been Owner to get the MVP. I think Owner in those last two series were game defining.
Well, who got it? Was it Zeus?
I think it was either Zeus or Faker. I know it wasn't Owner.
It was not. I know it was not Faker for sure because
Okay.
I voted for MVP
Uh,
for World's Finals.
good. Okay.
Uh,
Cool.
I think it was either Zeus or Owner.
I don't think Owner
We'll
got it.
find out. We'll find out in. I can't. Hang on. Now it's bugged because the winner gets a world's prestige skin.
Oh, okay. Who won MVP
That's
last Worlds?
Zeus,
Yeah. Yeah. That checks
which
out.
makes sense. He put
He did play. He played incredible. Yes.
he as good as Owner was. Zeus put reportedly the best top
Top
laner
lane.
in the world
True.
at Worlds in the Shy in a body bag.
Yes, he did.
Like not even just a butt. He dug a hole 18 feet under, put him in a body bag and forgot the tube and just started shoveling everything on.
I
There.
agree with you. I do. I think I'm not even a jungler. I don't even know why I'm saying this. I think times that like junglers get overlooked sometimes because of like the champs they have to play, and like one of the most distinct worlds memory that comes in my head is Owner playing Rel. He flashes over the Ash arrow
Yep.
and gets the ult. Like I don't have that same memory with Zeus. Do I? I know Zeus absolutely whooped ass. Absolutely. I know he
Yeah.
kicked the Shy's ass like tenfold. Yep. But I will always remember Owner playing Rel jungle, flashing over the Ash, getting his ult off, and just this beautiful symphony of of perfection. So
Yep.
yeah. Cool. Enough about me. God damn it. I'm having way too
Dude,
much fun.
you're fine. That's the good conversation flows back and forth. Never apologize for that ever.
True. Well, thank you. All right, last question about you, and then we go into the feature piece.
Yeah.
One of the questions that's always asked to us as college kids, especially I've had the pleasure of being in a lot of leadership opportunities, had a lot of mentors in my life, and they always ask me, what would you tell yourself, your 16-year-old self? And since you were still pretty young, I'm not going to ask you that question. What I will ask
I ain't
that
young.
is similar, you were very young, in my opinion. You're not 50. Um, what is your dream? What is David Szajnuk? What it gets him out of bed? What leads him to have this conversation with a random college kid? What fires you up? What is the end game for you?
I want to be what Mark Cuban was for the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
I truly believe that with the right people and the right resources around us, we could build a New York City based fan base for League of Legends and build a team that rivals even the biggest teams in the world just based on the 8 million people that we have here in this city.
Okay.
And I don't want to be sitting in the owner's box. I want to be in the front row like Spike Lee,
Yeah.
cheering on, excited, and I want I want that. I want to live in the moment but give people an experience that they will remember for the rest of their lives, but also have something that they can pass on from generation to generation. Like my parents were able to do with me with traditional sports. I know it kills them every day that I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Dad. It just is what it is. You bought me the Randy Moss jersey when I was little. That's not on me. But I want that type of thing to exist.
Yeah.
I want, you to be able to take your high school date to a League of Legends game if that's what you're into, or
That's your
that's what you
cup of
think is going to
tea.
be a goal. Yeah, if
Yeah.
it's a good time, if it's a cultural moment, like there is nothing better than live entertainment when done right.
Yeah.
And I see it on all sides because obviously I like the esports side. My wife's in musical theater. She works for Broadway. She wants to be on Broadway. Knowing that you're putting on a performance is a feeling unlike any other. And I'll never be the person on that stage. I'll never be the singer. I'll never be the athlete. I'll never be that level. But I can do everything I can to make sure the people on the other side of it have as good of a time as possible, have the camaraderie of other people around them, because that's what sports fandom is at its core.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that I can help build that. So my dream would be to be an owner, or at least like an executive
Yeah.
on a team, on New York's League of Legends team and New York's Valorant team.
So New York,
And
that's where your flag's at. You wouldn't. That's where you're.
we my wife and I debate this all the time. It's like if an opportunity came up in LA, would I ever take it? I don't
I have that. People
I
ask me that
don't
same question too.
I don't know. Because like her goal, her career is Broadway.
Yeah.
And like I promised her whenever we got engaged that I would find a way to make our lives end up here.
Okay.
And I don't ever want to take her away from that
That's fair.
because I truly think like her happiness will always be here.
Okay.
And I didn't think I would love this city. When we moved here, I was scared that I would hate it and want to move away in a matter of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I'd never lived near a big city. I was never like captivated by like I never said like, oh, I dreamed to live in New York one day. I was like, I just happened to be here.
Yeah.
But then within the first 72 hours of being here, I didn't have a car. We'd sold that before we came. It was literally just me walking around to go do everything. And you feel the energy of the city and you feel the vibrancy that is being around everybody else that is dreaming just as big as you are, if not bigger. I've been fortunate enough to travel a lot in my life.
Yeah.
Been to many different cities on the East Coast, been to some on the West Coast, some in the Midwest. There is nothing in the world that matches the energy we have here.
Okay. Very
And
cool.
nobody has tapped into it yet. Somebody will. And I would love to be the one that helps do that.
Very cool. I've never been to New York. Will not lie. I've never had a desire to go out to New York either. I just felt like I would. I don't know.
It can be overwhelming, to be very clear. If
Yeah.
you're not ready for it, it can be a lot. When I was in grad school, I spent a year and a half working at the Sunglass Hut in Times Square. So I worked in like the part that every local will tell you to avoid like the plague. But it's infectious.
Damn.
It's an energy that you can't the way I would describe it, I've never done a drug in my life ever. Never smoked weed, never done an edible,
Same.
never done anything.
Yep.
When I describe the feeling to people, they're like, dude, you did drugs. I was like, no, I haven't. It's a natural high
Yeah.
that comes with being in that environment.
That's fair. Now I lived in Phoenix City when during my 7th and 8th grade years, and that's why I'm a Suns fan. I'm a big Phoenix fan. I love Phoenix. How you describe New York reminds me a lot of how I talk about Arizona. Then two most common things to talk about in my life is 100 Thieves Esports and Phoenix, Arizona. Those are the two places that I don't know. That's my happiness. That's just where a lot of good things were in my life. So my dream is to open up and own an esport out in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm tired of LA being the only place that esports exists. I have no desire to live in LA. I think I'd hate it. I've been to LA. I had a national championship in LA, so I've seen it. I love Phoenix.
It's not you.
No, it's not. I like Phoenix because it's a big city when I want it. It's a small city when I want it. It's a suburban area. It's a rural area. I like that. I love the culture out there. And I think Phoenix, their fans, and especially for the Suns, man, they're there, you know?
Yeah.
And if it's same thing in New York, I just feel like it's a matter of time when you get them involved. And the other thing I like about Phoenix that New York and LA and all these other places have is they don't win. And I want Phoenix to win something so damn bad. And
You're really gonna tell New York football team, New York any sports team that they win?
y'all have the
In
Yankees.
my lifetime, I haven't seen
That's
that
fair,
much.
but you have the Yankees. You get what I'm saying, though?
When was the last time the Yankees won?
Phoenix has never won anything.
Didn't you guys just win the NBA championship?
No, we choked.
Or
my
no, you
friend.
lost in the final. Oh,
We've
yeah.
choked several times. The Cardinals never won. The Suns
My parents were at the
never
Super Bowl
won.
game, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Suns never won. Diamondbacks
Damn.
choke.
Tough.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Phoenix doesn't
you guys
win.
have been-
So
That's tough. Well,
yeah.
I mean, you win at partying. You got Arizona State.
we do. We do have
Nearby.
ASU. You know, forks up, baby. Go Devils.
Oh, ASU, HPVU, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Either
my
way.
one of my brothers, his name is Jabe. He went to ASU, but now he's going into med school. So big turnaround for him. But
I was gonna say that's one extreme to
yeah,
the other.
well, he was from Hawaii, and he told me like the culture in Hawaii is you're either gonna be a farmer that smokes weed or you go to the mainland. And he's like, and I was smoking a lot of weed, and I just want to play baseball. He's like, and I decided to not do that in college. And ASU's slogan is "We accept everybody." So he's like,
Yep.
My 2.1 got me right in the good old Sun Devils. Forks up, baby. So,
Everybody gives ASU a bad rep, but I
but
will say
isn't that what colleges? I mean, you should
bingo.
expect. Yeah, it's like
Bingo.
it's
I
just such a
cannot
cool
recommend
slogan.
going there enough
Yeah,
purely because college, people think it's about the degrees.
it's the people
To a,
you,
to a certain extent, it is. If you're going for medical school, stuff like that, fine.
but it's
90% of us, it is about the connections and
just
the
you
people
make.
that you meet.
Yeah,
And you will meet more people
at
at a
ASU.
party school, at somewhere bigger with more things going on than you will ever meet in smaller schools and specialized schools.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And ASU also, like, yes, if you look at their like holistic college representation, no, they don't have the best scores and things. But you got to
No.
remember what I always tell people at the end of the day: if you want to be smart and be cream of the crop, you can do that at ASU. The professors there, they're not partying, they're not dumb,
Nope.
right? They're cream of the crop. So it's a matter of choice. Now, majority of kids that go to ASU, they choose not to do those things, but my brother is one of them. He chose to say, you know what, I'm going to do the latter. So, but yes, Phoenix, your dream about New York is how I feel about Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
So I find that to be very cool. That's very touching. So, very cool.
I
Okay.
feel like it's more common than you might think. Our shared
Yeah,
vision on that.
I I agree, but I also will say that how do I word this and not sound like a dickhead? I think a lot of people talk about it,
Yeah.
but I think very few people wake up and dream about it day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. What kept me on this earth was that dream. That's all I think about is that future of doing that.
Yeah.
And respectfully to a lot of people who say they want to own an esport, it's like the same people who say, I want to go pro in basketball or football. That's great. But there's a difference. And I get that feeling from you where that's all you think about, right? Every step that you think, right? Me doing this interview, 100%, that's what I'm thinking about. I could have just interviewed, you know, texted Josh Dobbs, which is cool because UT, woo, but no, yeah. So, yes, I hear your point and I validate that, but I think there is a different caliber to the way people think about it. So,
Fair.
but yeah, cool. Speaking of League of Legends, you're heavily involved in the LCS community. Not only you are an avid 100 Thieves fan, go 100 Thieves,
Yes, sir.
but you're just in general an avid LCS fan, right? I've seen you rock the
Yep.
TL jersey. I've seen you rock the FlyQuest jersey this past split because they were doing some great things with you. Um, what is the one thing, and I know the answer, but it's for the interview, that you want to see happen in the coming years for LCS and esports in general?
Road shows.
Road shows. Tell me about
Road
it.
shows. Give me more. We it is a crime that we are trying to develop an entertainment product, whether you consider it more on the competitive side in terms of altruistic competition
Yeah,
or sports competitive in terms of WWE wrestling.
yeah,
Regardless of where you're at on that spectrum, you have to get the product in front of more people and in the hands of more people. Because as much as you want to say, oh, we have 100,000 people watching online, having 10,000 people attending in person will always be more important than that viewership number online.
yeah. Asses in seat is always more lucrative than a number online.
Always.
Yeah,
And that is how you develop connections with brands, with teams, with individuals. That's how you take that next step further and make it diehard loyalty that has to exist in a sports fandom that you have to find a way to get to.
yeah,
And as we continue to scale back on budgets in esports, which I get, venture capitalist money is pulled out. Unless you want the Saudis to come in and take over everything, you do have to scale back.
yeah.
But you can't eliminate the core of what makes this a thing. Otherwise, we could just have content creators going in and playing tournaments online, and it would arguably mean more to people than it necessarily would just seeing the best of the best perform.
Yeah,
There needs to be a blending of the two.
of course.
And I get for years the LCS has wanted to have these massive roadshow stadiums. We're just not there anymore. I've been to two different LCS finals, one in 2019 pre-COVID, and one this past year when it was in New Jersey. It is not the same amount of people
For the
that,
energy match.
yes,
Okay.
it was great. People were excited. It is nowhere near the same level of attendance now as it used to be. Cut costs, go smaller venues. We don't have to be in this 2016, 2017 understood, like if we can't sell out Madison Square Garden, does it really matter? It's like, yes, it matters. If you can sell out a 5,000 seat theater, that's just as important.
Yeah.
So downscale the venue, find a way to go to smaller locations, reduce your cost, but still keep your footprint on the ground. Because that was one of the things that you do early on, especially in an esports life, is like you get out to people because there's this understanding that you have to market it.
Yeah.
And it feels like as of late, there's this like, we don't have to, the product's already known. Everybody already knows about it. It's like, no, that's so far from the truth. I actually just listened to a interview with Mark Cuban just or like 20 minutes before we hopped on here. He was talking about his time with the Dallas Mavericks when he bought it back in 1999.
What was
First,
this a podcast?
I don't even know what it was. It was just a TikTok clip that came up.
Okay, I know exactly TikTok you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes.
where he goes into, rather than having his own office, he goes into the sales room.
Yep. And he starts
puts the
making
phone-
calls.
Yep, just making calls and explaining to people, hey,
It's
we are
$5.
not-
Get a ticket.
yeah, we are cheaper than McDonald's. We are not what you thought we were. We are going to be different.
Yeah.
That is the point that you're at now with the LCS. You have to actively market to people and say, hey, we are not what you thought we were. We are different. This is a new LCS, a new era, and it takes a ton of outreach and a ton of promotion, but you can build a community around that, and you have to give them points to latch onto. Just tuning into an online broadcast will never be able to do that for you. Not enough to the point where you can develop it long term, in my opinion.
I agree. Well said. Yeah. To add to that, I agree with you. I can't. I'm a broke college kid. Like I said, I don't have any family back here or anything. So I've been an adult since I was 17. So I can't. I don't have the luxury to go and afford those tickets to go to LA or New Jersey was the last one. So I've always liked the idea of road shows. Because it makes it. You could argue it would make tickets more affordable, or just plane tickets more affordable, right? Instead of me flying all the way across the country, I could just drive, or theoretically speaking. But yeah,
To be fair, it's not like that fully changes as you get older. I mean, I'm 29 now. Got a wife. I don't have kids yet, but we're hoping to sometime soon. But like, I can't go to LA either.
Yeah.
Like without saying the number, because I know corporate America is very iffy about that. I make a six-figure salary now at my full-time job.
yeah,
I still can't just ditch $1,000 to go out to LA to go to finals. I have to consider, okay, I need to save for our family upcoming. I need to pay back college student loans that kick in after you graduate. Life expenses, you have to pay your own rent. You drop off your parents' insurance at 26, and now you got to pay your own corporate
still
insurance.
paying.
Like life,
Yeah,
life is expensive, and
Yeah.
like just because like I don't say that to scare anybody,
Yeah.
but it's the truth. Like as you get older, just because you have more money doesn't mean you have more financial freedom.
yeah. More money equals more responsibility, and technically,
Yeah.
more responsibility means you pay more for that responsibility. Yeah.
And if you're blessed enough to not have any debt in life,
Congrats.
congratulations. That's amazing. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't. And
Yeah.
some of us have to take on debt to get out of situations that we were in.
Yep.
And it's a necessary evil. And I don't have a good answer for it. But I mean, I could
But
like I
no,
said,
I think that proves
I've
your
never
point, though.
traveled massively for anything like that.
Yeah,
And
no,
I can't.
I think that proves your point. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to go to World Seoul, Korea. Who doesn't, right? But I think her name's Ashley Kang, a big time LCS reporter. Love her work. She talked about how a wife spent thousands of dollars for their honeymoon. Their honeymoon was buying tickets to Worlds, which is I think is
Yep.
fucking dope. But that's not everyone's cup of tea for a honeymoon. But so yeah, I see your point. Now that leads to my second question: why is this? What keeps people from buying into that idea? Because you get quite a bit, or not a lot of backlash, but a lot of people don't like that idea. I have names, but I'm not going to name them. There's no point. But we know the people who don't agree with that take. So what do
Travis
you?
Gambit.
Yeah,
No, by all means, I tease on him a lot, but he ultimately, like, we come from a similar point. He doesn't want to travel as much as I do, but I think he understands the importance of him. So I don't as much as I shade him whenever I say that, like, it comes out of a place of love.
yeah, very cool. Okay. Do you
What
know
do I,
what do you think though? Why don't more people invest in the idea?
executive greed?
Okay.
I don't know if that'll get me in trouble. Maybe, I don't know,
Okay.
but I firmly believe that if you had somebody, if you had a group of people in charge that genuinely want this to become the biggest thing in the world, both domestically and internationally, that weren't also, I don't want to say reliant on like the money's good enough to the point where they don't have to, but it doesn't feel like there's anybody at that level that just has that undying urge to grow it without the financial gain,
Okay.
without the financial, because everything's about the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it is. By all means, I do. I work in finance for a living. I understand that. But I guess we just have fundamentally different principles on how you grow it, regardless of the past precedent that has already been set in the esport. Because Riot has their formula that they're sticking to. You even look at Valorant, they might have updated their model
The
and not be
kickoffs. Yeah.
charging franchise fees,
Yeah.
but they're very much still following the same structure that LoL Esports is.
Yep.
And no, like, everybody's raising complaints about it because it's just like
You didn't
it
learn.
is so, no, you didn't, like, the whole point of it being a sport is the value not only that it brings from an entertainment product, but what it brings to local communities and everything else around it. Like, and it feels like there's just this reliance on, we just want to be the biggest thing in the world, and we care about online viewership, and we care about, and we're getting, they can afford to have the buggy ahead of the horse because they're already in the lead. There's
Yeah.
nobody doing it like Riot Games does, and the only competitors that could possibly come in were Activision Blizzard products that they screwed the pooch on as well. It's like you just, and
They
you
screwed the
look
pooch
there,
within because with all the court cases and stuff. But
you
yeah.
look there, and it's just, it's even more egregious corporate greed. People thought that they could get money off of this, and it's like, at at what point do you have people up there that are genuinely passionate but also have that new fire lit under their ass? A great example that I will use that I think like can translate the esports to that. Cloud9 this past split
Yep.
fell apart.
Super team.
And one of the common beliefs is like, okay, you bring in all these incredibly talented individuals that have this pedigree, but they have their mindset stuck. And it's like,
The Brooklyn Nets. Great example.
yeah,
Yeah.
you lack the hunger.
Yep.
You lack like that rookie mentality, that young gun coming in the scene to really light a fire under everybody's ass. And it happens with every company, everywhere, as you get older, as your workforce goes, and you have people with the company for 10 to 15 years. Well, these are the ways we've always done it. These are the traditions we've set. Like, we're no different than the generations we've always mocked ahead of us. Like, baby boomers got stuck in their ways. Guess what?
We're
We
doing
do
the
too.
same thing.
It is
Yeah.
human nature. You're fighting against human nature.
We're
But you
creatures of
have,
habits. Yeah.
exactly, you have to bring in, you have to be open to bringing in people with new ideas that are willing to push the envelope, that are willing to light a fire under people's asses beyond what is comfortable and beyond what is known. And I don't feel like that exists within the esports circle. Now, it did go to the far extremes in some extent. You look at like the Call of Duty League, you had people that came in and was like, look, we're gonna try and reinvent the wheel entirely. It's like, no, you don't always need to
Need to
reinvent
read.
the
No,
wheel.
majority of times you
And like
actually don't need to touch the wheel. You just need to
exact,
take what's
but
good.
exactly. And but the thing is, like Call of Duty always had the one thing that we're preaching for League of Legends. They had it down well,
Yep.
when that they would travel
The land
really,
events
really well.
often too.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. They had
You
8
had that
events.
core, and they moved away from it to go to what League of Legends and everybody else had done.
Overwatch. Overwatch is the big.
Yeah.
Overwatch to me is the catalyst that started the drought of esports. The second Overwatch franchise, I was
Mhm.
like, 10 years too soon. 10
And the
years
thing
too
is, like,
soon.
I don't even mind having city-based team. Like, I love that,
No, I think
obviously.
it's
I
cool.
love that idea.
Of course,
But when you set the expectation that it has to be $25 million worth of value in
to
5
buy in,
years,
yeah, insane.
you're asking for something that can't happen. It's like,
Or
I don't know what to
it
tell
needs
you.
to be the most well-oiled machine that's ever existed, and the
And it
CDL
can't be.
is not, and not in 5 years.
No,
Especially
it's
when
not
you
realistic.
took the game plan, the mentality of, well, we're going to reinvent everything. Wait a second. So you're taking a $300 million league, and then you're going to tell me as the owner that now we're going to reinvent the wheel with my $25 million. No, no, no
I
good.
would love to know what happened in those meetings.
Oh, I would love to see how Hex reacted. I mean, just with the lawsuit and everything, it tells me everything I need to know. But yeah, COD. My disdain towards COD and Activision Blizzard is it's the biggest reason why I stepped away from COD. I couldn't actively support Activision with the sexual assault cases, the sexual abuse misconduct, the greedy leadership. Now they just brought in the new director for Overwatch 2 is now heading up CDL, and she is the big reason that Overwatch failed the first time, which is
Mm.
it's crazy to me that we were like, okay, we're going to sign the person who thought franchising Overwatch was a good idea, which is crazy to me.
I, the
Yeah,
thing I still stand by my statement that I don't mind franchising. I don't, because I think it can work in
yeah,
the American system when done right.
correctly, yes. But
But
here's my
the whole nature of franchising is that you are tying yourself to a regional area
area, of course,
and developing
and
that
here's
over
where
a long period of
I
time.
will
Yeah.
challenge, not challenge you, but just I think you'll understand this, and you kind of touched on this, and that was my next question. We all know that the stigma for gaming and esports is a lot of men and women who don't necessarily like sports. That is like a very common stereotype. Not saying it's fully true, but it's a stereotype because it was common.
Yep.
There is a piece of me. Now, I will never get this confirmed answer. However, it's a good assumption that if we took the executives from Riot and brought them into the swamp to a UF game, or brought them to Neyland Stadium, which has one of the biggest stadiums in the entire world, or entire country, excuse me, 106,000, and showed them the tailgating atmosphere and showed them that, hey, both of these SEC schools get millions of people who watch this on TV. However, it is not those millions of people who matter. It's this stadium, it's this tailgate. And it's almost to like that the enlightenment for them, they never got it. You know what I mean? And it's like there's a piece of me that just wish I could just grab them by the hand and be like, for one day, just come sit and see what doing road shows, why it matters. It's not the number on YouTube or Twitch. It's this.
But here's my thing. I'd be willing to bet that the majority of them do know that
You
and have
think?
been there and went to college. There is an underlying factor that will block all of that. Money.
Money. Yeah.
What drives the revenue for these games? We'll isolate it to one. What drives the revenue for League of Legends?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because it's not skins like Valorant. It's for
It
definitely.
is skins.
Oh, I thought. Okay, I was thinking of player skins like the capsule for Valorant. But
No,
yes,
I
it
mean
is.
all of
Yes,
League of Legends
absolutely,
revenue.
it is skins. 100%. Skins, banner
It,
icons, all the digital artwork in League of Legends.
So skins are the thing that drives revenue for the game.
Yep.
Why would Riot ever make decisions that take away money from milking the biggest cash cow that they have? Regardless of whether they want to or not, regardless of whether they know that environment. Like they know that you could develop a fandom like that over the course of 20 years. But when you have shareholders that are saying we need your earnings per share to go up by $1, which one's going to make your earnings per share go up? More skin sales or banking on 20 years from now that New York League of Legends team works out for you?
I hear your question, but I'll play devil's advocate. It's not even devil's advocate. It's to what you were asking for. If Riot, especially on their January, I think 11th post, not June 11th, the one where they did talk about the severance and cutting 501,
Yep.
they talk about getting back to their roots. They talk about how esports is a priority. So my thing is where I'm playing devil's advocate. Yes, I hear you. The natural answer that you were looking for me to give you in that vacuum scenario was shares skins, of course.
Yep.
My counter to that and to what you were asking for with road shows and everything is if you want to make esports, specifically League of Legends, the thing to make it a reality where people, that road shows are attainable, that people show up, that there are asses in seat, that people live and breathe and die for, like Madison Square when the Knicks play, or the Celtics, or for me, the Suns, right? We show up to the Valley, we're ready to rock and roll when Kevin Durant gets his 40-point bomb, right?
Yep.
It's not skins. So in my head, it's like if I'm looking at the shareholders, somebody has to have the gall, the balls, the nerve. Like, hey, shareholders, if we want to make this reality a world that we say we want and that we keep telling these people we want over and over and over again, especially the most recent post, it's time to say, hey, we can still do skins because they're going to. That will never stop. People will still keep buying them. The next Vera skin, you're definitely probably going to buy it, right?
I will be.
100%, right? Who doesn't? The next 100 Thieves skin that comes out in Valorant or League of Legends for that matter, I will be spending my money. Absolutely.
Yeah.
However, maybe it is my naiveness and hope and optimism, but I just feel that there will come a day that someone just says, you know what? Stop. That's not a thing anymore. That if we want to make this a world that we want, we got to do it. Because it had to be done for sports, you know?
Yeah.
Like someone had to say that for college sports, and someone's saying it right now for NIL, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I guarantee you somebody's thinking that for esports too.
Yeah.
But
who's gonna do it?
It's a matter of the right product lining up. And it might not be League of Legends. I
True.
hope it is.
Yeah.
It's got to be the right product with the right system and the right timing. And there's a little bit of luck involved there.
Always. Yeah.
But I think the bigger thing is I will always look at where are executive bonuses tied to.
Bingo.
You would be shocked by how much of corporate America in general how moves of companies are like. You might think, oh, why is this company doing this? This doesn't make sense to like the long-term like future of the business. Well, it's because executive stock or executive bonuses are tied to specific benchmarks on the P&L.
Yeah.
Or certain things that it's like every executive is developing a plan to maximize their
benefits.
Specific benchmarks because you have cash value inherently tied to that.
Of course.
So without knowing what Riot executive bonuses are tied to,
true,
it is impossible to fully know.
Great point.
But I'd be willing to bet any money that the majority of the incentives that are aligned for C-suite at Riot are probably not going to align with the same objectives of esports.
Yeah, no.
That would be my best guess.
No, that'll
because
take.
That's 90% of the time what the answer is in corporate America.
Yeah, corporate America is always greedy. I mean, it's no secret. Like
and regardless of whether it's gaming, entertainment, fitness, you name it, it's always corporate.
Yeah,
you're playing the game no matter what it looks like.
You're playing touch button politics. Yes, sir, you are. Well said. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I think we already touched on the New York piece. Do you think New York will ever get a team besides the New York Subliners
Yes.
in the CDL. Do you think the
hmm
team that owns the New York Subliners, do you see, isn't that owned by NRG, correct?
It is no, that is owned by Andbox Entertainment. I don't.
I think New York
They
Summers used to be owned by NRG, and then
they
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 owned
haven't
the
no
Huntsman.
correct.
Yes, that's right.
Andbox is now renamed to NYXL, so it is just it is NYXL themselves. They own. Let me see. What else do they have? They they got rid of their Valorant team.
They did.
They got rid of pretty much everything. It's funny when you Google NYXL, uh, not much comes up. The company is pretty much dead at this point.
Yeah, cycling a phase right now.
I'm trying to see if they have anything else.
All right, that kind of answers our question. It probably will not be them to invest in
No,
the New
and
York ecosystem.
but you're seeing teams like G2 host their Valorant watch parties here in New York City consistently.
I saw you
You,
post about that. Was that New York? I didn't know where that
Mhm.
was. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
they've been G2 was trying to get on the New York train prior to COVID shutting everything down back in the Carlos days.
So
Like
would G2 switch from Europe to come to the
they tried.
LCS? Really?
They applied for LCS franchising. Them and Fnatic, I believe.
Wow.
And both of them got denied.
Why? I didn't know that.
Ri- Riot wouldn't. I mean, this is pure speculation. I do not know whether this is true.
Yeah.
Riot would Riot would block them from coming over because they're too much of a valuable asset
For
over in
LEC.
Europe,
Yeah.
especially during that time. Like now, the LEC could survive without G2. Back then, it could not.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I didn't know that. Dang. Okay, G2. Interesting. I like G2. I have nothing. I don't have
I
against them. I don't have anything for them. I think they're cool.
I don't mind G2. I've other than when we play them internationally in League of Legends, then screw G2.
We
But
beat them.
that we did,
Yes, we did.
and hopefully we can beat them again this year because we're going to be facing them.
Yes, we are.
We're not going to get lucky with the draw and avoid them this time. It's going
No.
to be a head-to-head. So I need TL to step up.
I have faith in Yapton America, baby.
You and me both.
I love me a
You and me both.
Yappa.
I'm curious to see what they do though, because I feel like G2 is still angling to try and become New York City's team,
Okay.
which puts me in a weird spot if they were to ever do that. But I'll figure that out when the time
I was
comes.
to say, if that does happen, do you switch? Are you jumping ship? Would you jump ship? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. It's okay.
I don't have a good answer.
Okay.
I don't have a good answer at all.
It's how maybe somewhat relatable. How I feel about UGA is I say I bleed orange now, but I respect red. It's probably
Mhm.
maybe something that you would go along with.
The problem is it gets complicated because like I host watch parties here in New York.
Yeah.
I've had conversations with, or I've been told that G2 wants to have conversations with me about hosting like watch parties here for Worlds and everything else like that. And it's like they are starting to partner. And it's like it's buying my good graces, but it's one of those. Say G2 left the LEC to come to the LCS,
Yeah.
and it's directly G2 versus 100 Thieves. But G2 says, not just like saying like, "Hey, we're gonna be New York City's team." Like, no, like they fly out the team to meet people here in New York. Like they base everything around New York City.
They are New York City now. Yes. That's a toughie.
It would be so. I would probably have to do what I do in sports where it's like, even though I'm not a Steelers fan, I own Steelers stuff.
Okay.
I have an NFC team and an AFC team.
Gotcha.
Like, give me a West Coast team and an East Coast team, and I'll do both. But if
Okay.
shit, if G2 wants to sign me as a content creator though, my
Sh-
DMs are open. Like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you'll buy my alliance real quick.
Quick. Yeah.
Nah, just
Take all my 100 Thieves stuff and throw it away or put it in a safe
Yep.
space. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
that was like, hey, that was my optic stuff. Whenever Hex sold the brand, I put it. I was not sure whether I wanted to donate it or not. I'm glad I didn't.
I'm glad
But
you didn't either. Yeah, that was
I put it in the corner of the closet and was like, maybe one day.
yeah, when Optic sold, that was a tough one for the whole world of esports. Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Even yeah, we that's a whole nother can of worms. But yes,
No.
I understand. Okay. So keeping on the same trend of New York City, watch parties, kind of building some fandom locally. One of the big things that you do and do extremely well, and I don't see anybody else doing them, is incorporating everyday American society culture, i.e., going to bars for watching sporting events, and now you're bringing that to esports. So you actually just held the last LCS finals in a new bar this time, not your
Yep.
go-to. Shout out to that bar; they seem to be treating
Shout
you
out to
very well.
Legends NYC. They
There
were
you go,
great,
awesome.
great all the way around. Helped us all the way throughout the evening.
How did that go? I mean, you just said they were great, but how does it make you feel? What brought you that idea? Because I think it's a really good idea.
I mean, the idea, honestly, is it's not even. I won't even claim that like a watch party is my idea. It's really not. I just grew up in bars watching the Pittsburgh Steelers play.
Yeah,
We go on vacation to Myrtle Beach every year growing up, and it was always during August during preseason games, and we would go to a bar down in Myrtle Beach with 160 other Steeler fans, Pittsburgh Steeler fans in the
in
middle of
Myrtle.
South Carolina
Yeah,
watching the game, and everybody went ballistic for a preseason game.
hell yeah.
And then we would go to the actual games and everything else. It's like I grew up in that environment. I like watching competition in that environment.
Yeah.
And I chase that feeling in esports because I don't like watching it at my computer alone. I don't like just hopping in Discord because it's like, okay, well then look that I'm sorry, but a Discord call is nowhere near the same thing as like
No.
splitting a drink.
Breaking bread, sharing a beer, or whatever is
Yeah.
your divisive
Share beer,
choice.
share nachos,
Yeah.
like do stuff like and the
Eat a cheese
conversations flow.
quesadilla for when your team loses.
Yeah, like and like if there's another fan at the bar, because by all means, when you're in Discord calls, 90% of the time it's like people with your own similar, you know, you think the same, you're a fan of the same team.
Yep.
When you go to these bars, like you don't know who's gonna be out. Like so, we had the bar for the LCS finals watch party split 50-50 between FlyQuest and
TL.
TL.
I saw that. Yeah.
Hey, you had people chirping each other a little bit. It wasn't much,
Yeah.
but you had some people chirping that. It's like, yeah, there we go. Okay,
Which that
like
brings
talk your shit.
another point that I find to be pretty fascinating. I think is really cool. I'll use Scump for example. Scump does a watch party, but his is always optic oriented, which again makes sense. He's under optic, yeah. However, I think it's really cool because you bring up the example of the Steelers. It was all Steelers fans, breaking bread and sharing that moment.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with, I guess, the philosophy to almost to allow like everyone to come, whether you be a Hundred
Because
Thieves fan and or a FlyQuest fan, because that is a little different than like I know that
yeah.
there's a famous bar in Boston that every game when the Celtics play, it's just Celtics fan that are watching it. It's not the opposite side.
So I feel like it's twofold. One, it's a byproduct of not being big enough in the space to like try and worry about having a secluded thing for one individual team.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
like we have a Steeler bar here in New York City, which packs out every Sunday. You can go to any random bar and the game will be on. And you can watch it with anybody, but like,
Yeah.
it's the fan base is big enough to the point where you can have those separated experiences, but then also have something all together if you want it. In esports, we're not big enough yet. Like,
Okay.
it's not a concern of mine that like whenever FlyQuest reach out, is like, okay, I'm not making this a FlyQuest exclusive watch party. Like, I want everybody to come in and have a good time.
Yeah.
We're not big enough to the point where let's just isolate it to one people, let alone the fact that there's not even multiple things going on in New York City.
Yeah.
Uh, the second thing is like, part of like growing up like that is not only did we go on vacations there, but like we traveled a lot for sporting events. I would be golfing, my sister would be swimming. We'd be in Baltimore for a Pittsburgh Baltimore game and walk into bars with full Steeler gear on into enemy territory.
The Ravens.
And you know what? You learned to yap real quick.
Yeah, you did.
You learn like you either one of two things is gonna happen. You're either gonna walk in and keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, and you're gonna have a miserable time, or
You
you
yap.
get to know the locals.
Yeah, yeah.
You yap, but in a
Respectful way. Yeah,
you get to know the people. They're like you cross enemy lines
Yeah,
and
of
you
course.
understand their way of life, which helps you get an in on yapping because then you know how to cut them or you know how to hit them even harder because you're closer.
True.
But
True.
it we just I grew up in a household. I don't know if it's a Pittsburgh thing or just a my family thing, but we went everywhere and we're always encouraged to put ourselves in different situations than we were already in.
Very cool.
So I want to constantly give people that same experience because I don't feel like enough people step out of their comfort zone. Like if there was a TL watch party, people would just go to the TL one. Like, nah,
Yeah.
come engage with everybody. Learn to banter. Learn to do all this.
Be
It's
like
not something
APA. Have talk some trash to the FlyQuest peeps.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like it's a good time.
Very
And
good.
that's all that matters.
Cool. I like that. That's really cool. We answered that. Do we still? How long? And this is the last question in this segment. Obviously, do you believe that esports is growing in the next few years, or do you continue to see the drought and the turmoil that we've had for about a year and a half now? And if you do, how long do you think that will continue?
Financially, yes, the drought will continue. The drought will continue until developers start sharing general revenues that esports are driving for the company.
Okay.
So for the skin sales that we mentioned,
Yeah.
sponsorship revenue is going down
Yep.
in esports because the advertising segment of all industries is going down. The offset to that is developers are finally starting to open up and saying, okay, look, we get it. LOL esports, somebody sees Faker playing a skin, they go out and they buy that skin. We understand that a certain portion of our revenue is driven by esports being the marketing vessel for that. So some of the revenue should be attributed
Yeah.
to that. That will help offset some of it.
Okay.
But the viewership part, it's never stopped growing. Just because the LCS has dipped doesn't mean
Well,
that esports as a whole hasn't grown, and it has continued to grow.
I think it. COD took a dip. Overwatch took a dip. CS:GO naturally took a dip because they took a break. Esports, I definitely think did take a dip last year,
Oh, I think
viewership wise.
Post COVID, it took a dip. I will agree, but
Yeah.
there's a certain. It's impossible to fully know the impact,
True.
but you have to factor out an element of we got a bump because everybody was forced inside,
True.
and then life started to normalize afterwards in 2022 and like parts of 2023, where it's like, you got to kind of write off a portion of it. I'm not saying all of it.
Yeah.
But to make it apples to apples, I'm willing to flatten the curve and say we are at least even probably slightly better than we were before. Valorant just hit peak viewership.
True.
All time.
It did. It did.
League international events
Did
still
peak.
hitting peaks
Yep.
all time.
6.8 million. I saw that. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're like in the big moments, we are growing.
We're there. Yeah. I agree.
We might be struggling locally, and I think that's an element of the individual leagues falling apart.
Yeah.
But esports as a whole, gaming as a whole, is still growing.
Yeah.
And that's never changing in my mind.
Very cool. I agree with that. I think 2024, I've had talked to my peers. I said, I think it's the first year that I can say that we are no longer in a drought. I think we're at a plateau because of financially it's a natural balance, but I can say that we're not in a drought. I know, like, not only was it viewership went down and like league stopped and stuff like that, but it's also just big teams that disappeared. I mean, TSM is a big one of them. Optic was a big one of them until the merger of the Dallas. I mean, those are
but
huge.
that's going to happen.
Yes.
Think about how many sports teams
Well,
over the last 100 years.
Houston Oilers, the Seattle Sonic. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Washington
many sports teams
Wizards.
have folded.
True.
Yeah.
It's
we
aren't at the level of those leagues to be able to sustain that. That's why I said that drought was a real thing, and the layoffs and stuff.
And that's fair, but I will always look at things, whether it's right or wrong, on the bigger, grander scale, which is in the 100. I mean, golf alone is like 150 years, give or take. Most sports are probably around like 100 at this point. Soccer's even older.
Yeah, soccer's one of the oldest sports, I think. Yeah.
They're here in terms of their total timeline.
And we're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
We are such a small portion. I get part of the problem is the messaging that was put out about esports over the last few years. Like, we're becoming the next sports. When Riot and Activision were trying to sell their sponsorships, like they were just being dumb aggressive
Yeah, they
with
were.
how they worded things,
Yeah,
which hurt the perception of things. But like, if the phrasing is, "Hey, 100 years from now, we can be where you are, but arguably bigger," I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
no, I
The
don't
problem
disagree
is
with
they
that.
shrunk it down and said, "We'll be." You saw people saying, "We're already bigger than the Super Bowl." It's like, stop,
That's
stop.
such
No, we're
cap.
not.
No.
No, we're not. Please don't do this. We're not like you're
Yeah,
causing
we
part of
jumped the
the
gun
problem.
way too much. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Yeah, but I like your thoughts, and
But it ebbs and flows.
yeah,
Like every graph, you look at most major companies. If you span out, the line is a straight line up.
but if you zoom
When you
in, it
when
goes
you
like
zoom in,
this.
it's this,
Yeah,
and it's constantly going up and down. But overall, the trend is up,
well said.
and we are in a down point. I'm not denying that. Esports is in a rough spot. You see people getting laid off everywhere.
Well, I mean,
It is
the Riot one's the biggest
yeah,
showcase of that. Yeah, 501
yeah.
jobs. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it hurts. It sucks. We will bounce back.
yeah.
As you, that is difficult to say at times because like you're trying to be optimistic in a situation where so many people's lives were upended.
And
But
there's also a lot of noise. There's a lot of
there
noise
is
about
very much so.
esports. Not being sustainable, and I from a personal level, like I talk to my teachers and at my job and stuff, and they're a whole lot older than me. And they're like, they look at me like I just, kicked their dog. They're like, "You want to go into esports? What the hell is wrong with you?" And I tell them, I was like, "It's the future. You don't see it yet." I was like, "But I'm telling you, it will be as big as traditional sports. It's like you just got to give it time." And they're like,
Everybody's
"Well,
crazy until they're not, right?
exactly." And they're like, "Well, it's been 10 years." And I'm like, "Okay, what's your point? That's still infancy. That's still classified as the infancy stage." As like
Yep.
soccer's been around for how long? I was like, "Come on now." I was like, and it's MLS is finally becoming a thing in the United States. And soccer's been around for what 150 years, or football,
Yep.
excuse me. It took Messi to come over here for people to finally give a shit.
Yep.
So but yeah, I agree with you. I really like the chart analogy. I think that was really, really well said, and that's a great way to look at it.
The thing I would just add to that is like I know more people get into esports. I've been trying to raise this on Twitter, but like be smart. Believe me, I wanted to go into esports as well when I was like we already talked about like my journey to
Yeah,
this point, and I'm not in esports right now. My my entire income, barring the little bit that I'm making off of content right now, comes from my full-time job, which has nothing to do with esports.
yep,
You have to make sure that you're financially sound and making proper decisions,
yep.
but let that passion flow over somewhere. Try and merge the two at some point. At least that's my bit of. If you have the freedom and the financial capabilities to just go head over heels, say screw it, I'm moving to LA, gonna make this happen, and you got room to work with, and you don't care if it fails or not, then by all means,
Do it.
great.
Yeah,
I don't have that. I don't have that level of risk tolerance.
yeah.
I want to make sure that there's always
Calculated
you know,
risk. Yes.
yeah. I try to be strategic with everything that I do.
Yeah, yeah. Great advice. Cool. Last segment, we're gonna try to make this rapid fire. Fun
Okay.
questions. Favorite video game of your childhood, and what's your favorite video game right now? Go.
Hot Shots Golf 2
Okay.
on PlayStation 2. Favorite video game right now? I gotta say League of Legends.
Cool. Kind of a no brainer, huh?
It's disingenuous to say anything else.
Yeah. Actually, it's Valorant. Cross. What a great question. um,
I'm gonna play that once our rec league season is done. I'm gonna try and get some plat.
well, we
in
should
Valorant.
play together. I'm in plat now. I'd love to.
I'm gonna be starting in silver, so you might be a little bit higher elo than I'm able to play with.
Well, if you start, wait, when's the end of your rec league?
End of this month. So
Cool. Season
assuming
will
we keep
reset.
winning out. Yeah.
Okay, so then yeah, let's do it. Season will reset. All right, current 100 Thieves roster or the 2021 100 Thieves roster?
Current.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Current, hands down, bar none. Current.
Cool.
I think Quid is one of the best. Quid might be the best player that has ever played on 100 Thieves.
Heard.
I think time will. He's got to get over the stage nerves.
Yep.
If he can do that, he has the potential to be. I'm not gonna say he is right now,
I think the
but
throne for that is someday.
Sunday tenure wise, yes.
Yeah.
Someday in terms of best player in the league,
No, not in league. I'm talking
no.
about 100 Thieves, who we've had.
No, I know.
Yeah.
We've had 2 MVPs in 100 Thieves history. Neither one of them was Someday. As much as I love the guy, neither one was Someday. Someday was a rock.
Who do
Served
you
his
who do you
purpose.
think is the best talent we've had 100 Thieves before someday? I don't count double lift.
I think
'Cause-
Aframoose had the highest peak of any individual player
Oh,
on the
I
team
forgot about
prior.
Aframu.
Well, probably closer actually. I don't know, either closer or Aframu had like the 2 individually highest peaks of players during their time on 100 Thieves.
I still think I'd take someday and say that's all raw talent and what he's done. I think I'd put him. But
That's fair.
to your point, I do believe the same sentiment about Quid. He made me a believer when I watched him play Talia. I was like, okay, this guy's Talia is I'm with it. I'm rocking with it.
It's weird for me to say this, but I'm actually a little bit scared, just because
I
we
don't
know
think
the
he'll
fall-
stay. Yeah.
We know the fall off that happens with import players.
Yep.
The next year, not only summer, like summer, I think he'll be fine, but like
It'll be a big
summer
year.
going into spring of next year, I think is going to be a massive determinant of how it goes.
I have faith. I have
I
faith.
hope so. I will always have faith.
Yeah. But
Until I don't, I will have faith.
I hear you. Okay. What do you think about the TL performance? How'd you feel about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you a fan of the way they came out, or are you a believer?
I'm not a fan of one of the teams that they knocked out of playoffs. I would have rather have beaten them, aka 100 Thieves. But
Yep,
beyond that, no,
of course.
I am very excited to see this roster internationally.
Me
I
too.
think they've got a level of grit that we have been sorely missing from LCS teams of the last few years. Like as good of a story as NRG was, it's not near this caliber.
No, I
There's
agree.
like this squad gives me early esports vibes of like fuck you and have a nice day.
Yeah,
Like,
APA gives me
and
COD vibes. I've always
He
liked
does.
COD, APA, and I'm like, dude, if I like it. I'm with it. I'm here for it. I think LCS needs a villain. Every sport needs a villain, right? That's what makes
Yep.
stories. That's what makes sports. There will always be a villain, and there needs to be. And I think Valorant needs a villain, and I don't think Valorant has a villain right now.
No, because the popular kids are the
On
ones on top.
Sentinels, yeah. And
You
also,
can't have a villain when they're the popular
I also
ones.
think Valorant community is a little bit softer when it comes to
Compared to League?
yeah,
Really?
I do.
We're
do.
wimps.
I don't think so. I think the Reddit scene says otherwise, and I think people.
No, but I don't. Here's the thing. I don't take stock into Reddit. People can throw.
Well, there's keyboard
online
wars. Yeah.
People can throw online comments out all they want. All I care about is who's willing to say something to my face when I'm standing across from you. And I think the league player backs down 10 out of 10 times because I've seen it. I've seen it more than most other people have had the luxury of seeing it.
I hear
the
you.
Valorant player will still stand in my face and be like, dude, you are ass.
Nah. Nope. Disagree. Not now.
You need to come to the Northeast. It's a completely different animal then.
Okay, that's fair. But I mean,
It might
I
just
live
be a
in
regional thing.
I say I
so.
live in the South. I do see it from a sports perspective, but I mean, here's what I'll say: this I don't take stock in playing Valorant when people get on voice comms and talk a lot of random bullshit.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about professionally, and I'm thinking that's what you're saying. But there is no APA in Valorant currently right now. I also know the rules in Valorant. They got rid of shooting bodies and teabagging.
Yeah, that's just Riot being fucking soft in general, and they need to get their heads out of their asses.
That's my point. League of Legends, you can still emote. There's still all chat. I think those little tweaks that Riot chose, I think the community kind of buys into it. That's where I come from at a standpoint. I think Valorant's a little soft.
I will agree with that to a certain extent, but I've also seen more Valorant players standing up from their desk and popping off at the enemy team than I
True.
ever
I will say
seen
I
League
see a
of
lot of
Legends
hand
people doing.
waves by John QT a lot. Yes, I do see that.
I've never once seen that in League of Legends. You've seen like the people like flexing the bicep to like bot gap.
Yeah,
You've never once seen somebody stand up over top of their desk and pop off at the enemy team.
true.
It's never happened in the history of LCS,
That's
to my
fair.
knowledge.
That's fair. COD takes it over both
Oh,
of
dude,
them.
we have such high standards.
Yeah,
That's the
it
problem.
really does.
The T2P era is unmatched and will never, like nothing will ever come
Not
close. I don't care how much Standy can be an ass. Like
Oh,
he will never live up to what they have.
I hate the giraffe. God, I hate him. But
I
man,
love him.
one of my
He's the best.
I liked him as a villain, but he annoys the shit out of me, and his girlfriend's annoying too. But yeah, T2P was a good one, and then I love the Atlanta FaZe Seattle Surge. Did you ever watch that when they
Yep.
would yell "fuck you" to
Oh,
FaZe in the
yeah.
crowd the entire time?
I was at the New York Major when we were yelling out "fuck you, Standy."
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it afterwards, but his mom was sitting in the row in front of me.
Ugh, tragic.
I felt so bad afterwards. I was like, oh, but
Yeah.
I'm sure she
She gets it. Yeah.
you've been in the COD scene long enough. I'm
Yeah.
sure you know. Like, it
No.
was one of those moments where I stopped and was like, okay, are we actually doing the right thing? But then I thought about it, I was like,
Yeah.
no, we're doing the right thing. We're fine. We're
Yeah,
fine.
I'm with it.
She can handle it.
Yeah, no, when Seattle Surge brought in Nick Classic as a random substitute the day of and they win. And I remember the meme of Nick Classic going like this and he had like the devil eyes and he's like phase down bitch. Oh my god, one of my happiest moments. I loved it.
Yep.
Yeah, we were spoiled with COD. That's for damn sure.
Yep.
All right, last but not least, who would you like to see team change, and what's your prediction? Who's number 1, 2, 3, and 4? We'll just go the top 4.
Would I like to see team change, like roster changes?
Yep. Or who do you think is going to change? I'll give you where I'm coming. I'll give you like a baseline. Okay. I think Licorice needed to be in the league during the spring, and I think he needs to be it now. That's if he chooses to compete. I know he's been kind of wishy-washy in that, or I think I heard some narrative about that. Another hot take I'll go is I don't want to see Sven compete anymore. I want to see Sven on the main team for broadcasting. I love Sven as an LCS analyst, and
he's too much of a competitor.
I know.
It's one of those that like you almost need him like WWE, like your knees will give out if you go on that stage and try like Triple H level of.
That's fair.
Like you literally can't. He will always try. To your point, I will say, I will make a general statement. I won't even say one individual player.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of players that we have this perception of, oh, they should be on a team, but they're just not going to the bottom teams and they refuse to. I need all of these players to link up and just start shopping to team owners saying, look, we will elevate the talent of this region tenfold. Give us a coach that we can work with and let us go in. So I want to see Fudge. Fudge better be on a team.
Yeah.
This summer. If Licorice wants to play, Licorice should be on the team. If Licorice is not, then bring Surdy in.
Yep.
From I forget, is he FlyQuest child? Either way, he's like a great
he's in the
upcoming talent.
Yes.
I do not want to see any more cases of players not going to bottom teams because they don't like what management is doing.
Yeah.
Management, swallow your damn pride. Get these players on teams. And if they fail out, then we promote younger talent, or you bring in like better imports. Like Thanatos is a great example of an import that I want to see in the LCS. I don't want to see like older, like I don't want to see players that have gotten their chance and are coming in to basically get a check.
A freebie.
Like, that's not, like that's not the point of our, like I'd rather take somebody like Spica every day over ever seeing that happen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spica is good enough to be on that stage.
I don't know why Spica's not.
Because he doesn't want to play for a bottom team.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that's where it's like I want to see him on a team.
But like I could see like you build a team around Spica and put Licorice on that team, and like you put him on a bottom team. And I mean, let's be honest, this is the most competitive the LCS has ever been, was this past split. Yeah. I mean, an Immortals team, they were 2 wins away from being in the playoffs, you know?
And it's not like we're far off. Like you
No.
said, everybody's competitive. So we've got a good mix of talent. There's just a few more extras that's just like you Fudge, for example, if he does not go to Shopify, I'm gonna be mind blown.
You think he takes Fake God's spot? I thought
He
Fake God played.
should. No, Fake God played terribly.
What?
Fake God, I think was one of the worst top laners in the league.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And he did nothing.
Besides his
Yeah.
Aatrox, I'll give you that. His Aatrox play was very good. I thought he was one of the better Aatroxes in the league. He played a very good
I don't think
Aatrox.
Aatrox didn't really get played all that much. Was the only issue.
All their Shopify runs wins was when he played Aatrox, and he did very very well with Aatrox.
But beyond that, like he didn't really do like you. He's going through what I would call the Tim Tebow effect. He's a great NACL player.
Yeah.
He's been given 3 different chances now at the LCS level. Sniper
true.
comes in his first split, and all like Fake God was bodying Sniper in Academy. But sometimes there
Really?
are players that are just there are going to be players that don't do well
Yeah, Team
in the
Tebow's
secondary level,
Team
but
Tebow's
do incredibly well at the pro level.
Yeah, Team Tebow's a great example, or in reverse for Fake God, but
Yeah.
okay,
I
good
think
point.
Fake God is going to be one of those people that is a great challenger player. Will always be a gatekeeper for the league for many people and test them to see if they're ready. But I've seen enough to know he ain't it on the pro stage. Put Fudge on Shopify. You could even, if you want to bring in Spica for Boogie, go ahead. But I'm fine with Boogie as well.
I think keep Boogie.
Fudge, Boogie, Insanity, B-Voy,
Zazel.
and then
I keep Zazel.
Zazel was good. I would bring in somebody to also challenge him and like fight for the spot.
You think like a Sven? If Zen, if,
Well,
if
no,
he
'cause I don't
agrees
think
to play
Sven wants to play
support,
support.
yeah, I
No.
know he wants to play
If Sven's
DC.
gonna play support, he's gonna play for Cloud9, and he'll replace Vulcan.
Yeah,
That's
I think if Cloud9 gets rid of anybody, I'm not a fan of Vulcan. I was not impressed. I didn't think he played very well.
either way. I think Cloud9 wins summer.
Okay, so there it is. You think?
I don't see a world where they lose it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that pains me to say. I would love to see 100 Thieves win.
All right, I will take you on the devil's advocate. I don't think Cloud9 wins summer. I think they will be hungry. Yes, I don't see it.
I will give you the even bolder take.
Okay, give me.
One of Team Liquid or FlyQuest is not going to Worlds.
Nah, it's not that bold to me.
I think it's FlyQuest.
I think it's damn.
Assuming we only have 3 teams in it.
Which
I
I
think-
hate, by the way. I don't understand why we don't get 4. I think it pisses me off.
I mean,
I
it's
get it,
fine
but
because,
it
like,
makes me
minor regions
mad.
only get 1, so like I'm not gonna ultimately complain.
But the LCK and LPL, they get 4.
yeah, but there are 4 teams
They
that
are
are gonna
very
be
good.
4 teams
Yeah, I
that make
know.
it out of the.
All right, David, we're supposed to be pro USA here, okay? But no, I hear what
there's
you're saying.
There's a Daniel Tosh comedy sketch that is fucked up, but like one of my favorite examples. He starts his special off by basically saying, it's great to be here in the US. Maybe if we stop saying that we were the best country in the world and just started saying we were top 10, people want to stop sawing our heads off.
I think,
And
yeah.
it is a joke, but like it at the same time, it's like
There's merit to it.
There's a point to be made.
There's
like,
merit to
as
it, for
NA,
sure.
If we just accept the fact that we're the 4th best region and not try and like push like we deserve to be with like on equal footing, it's like no. Let's accept our role when we prove ourselves. Then we can open our mouth.
I just say, I think if MSI happens, we beat G2 and whoever the LEC component other partners are. Who is it?
Yeah.
We don't know yet, do we?
It's either going to be BDS,
BDS
or
or
Fnatic. One of the
Fnatic.
two.
Yeah, because I watched their match today.
Fnatic has to win it all to be able
Yes,
to get there.
they do. I hope BDS gets it personally. I love
I hope
Cage
Fnatic
Roll.
gets it.
I like BDS. I'm a big fan of Adam. I love his weird picks. I think it's very good for League. I think it's exciting. So, but
I just don't think BDS can beat G2. I don't think they match up well against them at all.
I
think Fnatic stands a better chance just because of the style that I know that Fnatic can play.
I don't.
But I know BDS cannot play.
Fnatic's got their ass beat by G2 like both times. They played in the winter and spring. BDS, the
And
only reason they lost was because they had no idea how to play against a fucking lane swap 2 of the maps. Which, by the way, that was an awesome game to watch. I
it
don't.
was.
That was so exciting. Shout out to
It was.
G2. That was big brain as hell. But
They just watched a lot of LPL. That's all they did.
yeah, true. But okay, so Cloud9 you think takes it, and your other bold prediction is FlyQuest or TL
FlyQuest
doesn't make
TL,
it.
FlyQuest TL, 100 Thieves.
That's who you think go to Worlds. One,
Yes.
two, three.
1, 2, 3.
So you're saying TL doesn't make it to Worlds?
No, sorry, Cloud9 TL.
TL.
100 Thieves.
Okay, cool.
Because here's the thing. Every year, MSI curse. It is going to happen to one of these teams. I don't know which.
Did Golden Guardians go to MSI?
Golden Guardians went to MSI and then did go to Worlds because they got that 4C. But last year there was a massive. Last year is tough because like there's a massive disparity between the top 4 in the league and the bottom 4.
True.
Like drastic.
Well, Golden
difference.
Guardians was predicted. I mean, I had them as a dark horse, but to win the whole damn.
And they collapsed.
And it
so
made me
hard.
Huhi is one of my favorite pros, if not my favorite pro in the league. I'm a big Huhi fanboy. I think he's super cool. I love his weird support picks. Yeah, they collapsed big time, and I was very sad.
Both the teams that went to MSI,
besides NRG,
played worse in summer.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Cloud9 was dropping games to NRG throughout the regular season. And playoffs, it was like, okay, well, maybe they're, just better. But then you look at how finals went and you look how that translated into Worlds, they were burnt out. You look at Golden Guardians, an extreme case of burnout. They burn out harder than literally any, like...
Yeah, I've never seen it that bad.
When we started hearing rumors about how, like, scrims were going prior to that Golden Guardians BDS match, it was like, oh, no. This is going to be brutal.
Yeah.
Like this might actually like be the worst NA performance we ever put on, and it was terrible.
And it was really sad too, because Licorice played well, but Licorice,
So one of these two teams is going to burn out come summer.
Okay.
And my only hope is that it happens before qualifications for Worlds.
Okay.
What I don't want to have happen is I don't want a repeat of last year. I don't want to send a team to Worlds that we already know is on the brink of burning out. And then you just add Worlds pressure and Worlds preparation on top of that. And they go over and just get slaughtered.
All right. Here's my prediction to join you. I'm going to go. I think FlyQuest #1, I think they win it. The reason being is because I think that the way they just lost, I think they're going to be more angry than a complacent Cloud9. Yes, I understand they just got rid of their head coach. Yes, I understand they are going to be making roster changes, supposedly. However, no, I'm talking about Cloud9. Excuse me.
Oh, Cloud9.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cloud9. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. However, no matter if they import the Thanatos guy and they get the new head coach, it doesn't sell me enough to believe they are still not complacent. I think JoJo, I understand he is the best mid laner, arguably next to Quid, right? Quid's not quite there yet, but he's damn close. However, my only critique, and I think everybody says this about JoJo Pune, is JoJo, the one thing that he lacks is, I swear, is the will and the fire to win. And I just never translate. And it just shows.
Yep. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
When was the last time the Cloud9 team got really complacent to the point where it was impacting scrims? Like so heavily to the point where they would need to make mid-season roster changes.
I don't know, probably because I'm not as fluent in your. I try to catch up on league history, but I'm not all the way there.
Let me give you a little history lesson then.
Okay.
There was a Cloud9 team that had some of the biggest names in the history of the league on it. Jensen.
Okay, was this with Jensen, Sneaky? Okay.
Movie.
I do know about them. Yes.
2018 Cloud9.
Yep.
In the summer, they are just inting in scrims.
Okay.
So their head coach at the time, Reaper,
Yep.
makes the choice alongside Jack to say on camera publicly, you guys don't care. You're not in it. I have Jack's approval because this will make us compete at Worlds. You guys are benched. In your place is coming in Golden Glue, who was not better than Jensen. I forget who the ADC was. I think it was Keith at ADC, and I forget who else. I forget who was in support. All downgrade players. Like in no way, shape, or form better
Was it
than.
better? Yeah.
And they didn't perform all that much better. But what it did was it lit a fire under every single player's ass to let them know you are not above this team. You are not above getting benched. You are not above our system. You will buy into it. You will support it. And you will help us win something or get somewhere.
I hear you, but
And that's exactly what happened.
I hear you.
They did not win the splits, but they went on to be the best performing team that we have ever had in the history of North America internationally.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're right. That's Cloud9, but we are not with those players anymore.
But we are with that same owner and coach.
I understand, but we're not with the same players, and there is
Doesn't
no
matter.
way you can convince me that Joe Japune has that. He doesn't.
I think he's never been in a situation that's allowed him to face that challenge. He was never going to get benched at EG. He was
No.
never going to get benched.
But
this
he's not
year
going to
at
get
C9.
benched at C9.
Yes, he will.
I think that's
I will bet you it might not happen, and this might be a completely irrelevant point.
I think the
Reaper is the type of guy that if he goes in and sees that they're inting scrims and Joe Japune is not trying or giving a fuck, he will tell Jack, you're bringing in a substitute, and we're sitting his ass out. And I do not care
okay.
because it will be better for the team.
But okay, I'll play that. Okay, let's go down that road. However, I still stand by it will not change JoJo. I promise you.
I think it would.
I don't. I think he's too
ever-
complacent as a player, and he has too much of an ego. And we saw him ego everything against APA, and it bit him in the ass. And he did that on the EG roster last year. I don't, and that's why
I also don't fully buy that though.
I do.
When they lost to Team Liquid, that was not on Joe Japune.
No, it wasn't. However, Jojo Pugh made some very stupid, very dumb ego 1v1s
Sure.
against
but
APA.
Why? But why?
Because Jojo has an ego. He wants to be the best.
No, but that's an assumption. But
He's
the other
talked
side
about
of
it though.
He has talked about it, but there's another side to the coin when you watch the play in the game that becomes more apparent. Everybody felt like they had to do something on that team because nothing was working.
Happening. Yeah, of course. They were crumbling.
When you feel like when everybody starts throwing shit in the wind, you just gotta try something. Even though it looks like chain ending and it looks like, oh, he's trying to do everything. It's for Cloud9, my synopsis is there were too many cooks in the kitchen.
100%. It's like it's the Brooklyn Nets again. James Harden. Yeah. However, I'm almost referring to game one. JoJo lost a 1v1 against APA in like 5 minutes in. I watched it back today. I was rewatching Cadrill's video about it, which was hilarious. And but then to your point, after that 1v1, you're right. There was the 2 failed dives on Impact where he got the craziest Renekton on the fudge where Blabber was walking away in Zinzao and Jojo just standing there looked like a dumbass playing Karma. Yeah, I agree. But the early entry battle from APA to JoJo, it looked like APA was nervous and then bam, pops him. And JoJo's like, whoa, wait a second. Uh-oh, we have a series. And I just think he has a lot of ego. And I don't see him changing.
I agree that he has a lot of ego. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
But I think ego, when placed right,
is beautiful.
Can be the big, like Tom Brady, biggest ego in the fucking world.
Yeah, we've seen it at its highest, but there's a double-edged sword to that. And unfortunately, reality, I don't think JoJo suffers so much from the other double side of that sword, and I don't see that even getting benched, I don't think it does it. Because here's what I think happens. He says, fuck you, Cloud9. I'm not staying. I can go anywhere else, and every other team would pick me up in a heartbeat and get rid of their mid laner, arguably besides 100 Thieves, maybe FlyQuest, maybe. I know that
I
Papa Smithy's a big Jensen fan right now, but Jensen also got put on Annie for 2 games. I just don't see JoJo taking a bench very well. And to your point of why I don't see Cloud9 winning it, because your copium of Cloud9 having this leadership, which I agree they do, if they bench JoJo Pune and pull him in, there's no way in hell that Cloud9 wins this split to come back full circle.
I just I've seen enough examples in sports to know that Jojo Pune has never had a coach around him that he fully respects.
But we don't have those
He's had-
coaches in league. That's
we
like one.
do. We have some. We don't have many.
As I say,
but we do.
because Medios and Kobe and Azil talked about all down the divies that coaches in league right now are not very well respected.
Agreed. But there's one coach that is
Who?
Rebird. Rebird is the most well-respected coach
But
in
I
all
thought
of LCS history.
I thought Mithy was their coach. They just fired.
They fired him. Yes.
Is Reaper coming
Rebird is-
back?
Rebird is coming in.
Oh, did that get announced?
Yes, that got it. Well, that got leaked by LEC or LCS EV.
Okay.
So yes,
heard.
Rebird is going to be the coach of Cloud9, which is why I am fully on the train of Jojo Pune will now not only have somebody in game that he might respect in Blabber or Berserker, because I think especially after what we've seen from the footage from Cloud9, I know like he whether he likes it or not, he will have a certain level of respect for Berserker's drive to win.
True.
He will now have a coach that can actively challenge him, that will not get walked over like Miffy has, that will not get walked over like the EG coaching staff. You know, maybe they did put their foot down, but maybe like it just wasn't the right setting.
Yeah.
EG burnt too many bridges with Jojo Pune by that point. Who
And
knows?
EG was imploding the organization itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know Kelsey Moser's on that staff, and I respect Kelsey Moser pretty heavily.
Yeah.
But this is a situation where I think of it like, have you ever seen the movie Good Will Hunting?
Of course I have. Yeah. Okay.
I think of this as a moment like that where there might be some ugly moments.
Okay.
There might be times where it gets.
I will concede the point. I see your side. I am not
That's
convinced.
fair. Yeah, we're never gonna. That's
Yeah.
fine if we don't agree.
As I say,
Perfectly.
I could definitely see your scenario playing out just as much as I can see mine. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it could go either way.
Because it really comes down to the character of Jojo Pune. I think every other role will get resolved. I don't think Berserker will play as shit. I don't think Blabber will look as lost as he did. I don't see that happening again. But I think it does come down to Jojo Pune. And I think it will be a very what is the word? It will be a very important. It will be Jojo Pune's first ever crossroads in his career. Okay.
And guess what? He's at that same age that I had my crossroads in college.
Quarter life. No, that would in your college. You weren't in your quarter
Nah,
life crisis yet.
Junior year.
That's what I'm in.
Yeah. Jojo Pune is 19, turning 20.
Okay.
He is young.
True.
He is in a high pressure environment that none of us will ever understand.
True.
I give him I fully understand that he will have moments where he fucks up, where his ego gets the best of him. But I fully have faith that he is a smart enough individual to eventually, he might hit a breaking point, but he will bounce back. Jojo Pune has the potential to go down as the greatest North American player in mid lane that we've ever had, if he plays his cards right. And eventually he will figure his shit out. I have faith.
Okay. All right. Well, I am going to stop recording. I would just want to say one more time, thank you so very much on the record. This was incredible. I hope that this was enjoyable for you. It was very enjoyable for me. I hope that maybe you got to relive some moments that maybe you haven't thought about in some time. And I'm glad I got to share that and be a part of that story with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for reaching out. I'm sorry it took so long to get this scheduled and organized. Life has been nothing short of crazy over the last few few weeks, few months as things. All I can say is Disney is a very fast-moving company
Is
with
that who you work
many.
for? Do you work for
Yeah,
Disney? Okay.
yeah. So I work for specifically Disney streaming.
Okay.
So ESPN Plus, uh, ESPN Plus, Hulu, and uh, Disney Plus. I oversee our consolidated financial statements.
Cool. I'm gonna stop recording, but heard.